you want to hear a conspiracy theory now, actually?
Your fireworks are going off. I love it.
Are they? Oh, gosh, Dom, not again.
No, I like it.
I don't know how to control
that. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Volume 1. Today, we have a very special guest that made me laugh a lot before we started recording, so I'm feeling extra giggly right now. That's the best way to start an episode, giggly. We have a very special guest today to talk with us about a horror manga called Ibitsu, but we'll go more into that and give you a synopsis to that later. Now, it's all about introducing our handsome, our talented, our beautiful guest. Make some noise for How to Train Your Gavin!
Yay! I didn't say stop. Come on, continue.
Oh, sorry. Great fashion sense.
Icon.
He's an icon.
King.
It's a collab that's been a long time coming, dude.
Yes.
Gavin.
Me more so than anyone else, I think. I've been in the live chat for your amazing community lives for like months and months and months now. I am obsessed. I'm obviously a fan. Not in a creepy Stephen King misery way, but, you know, just like in a normal way. It's
Spooktober, so even if it was
like that,
it'd be on brand.
It would be good.
Yeah. This month, though. You can only be creepy October. And then you got to cut it out, Gavin.
That is true, yeah.
Tone it down in November.
No, honestly, Gavin, we're huge fans of yours. We were telling you off before we started recording, I swear to God, because people never believe that, you know? No. They'll say, sure you were, Josh. Gavin is an amazing booktuber who has caught up on his he started his One Piece journey, caught up on One Piece. So he's dipping his toes into manga and even going on like haunted castle, tours. I mean, he kind of does it all, dude. He's a jack of all trades.
It's a jack of all trades, but master of none. Honestly, I'm just absolutely spread everywhere. I'm spread everywhere. But you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way.
Gavin is spread out.
You heard it here. Right on Volume 1. We caught him. He's spread.
He's spread eagle. They call him Spread Eagle Gav.
That is how you train your Gavin. But yeah, I absolutely think the world of you guys, and I'm so glad that you guys asked me to do this. And I'm honestly ready to talk horror manga. It's something that I'm finding such a big passion for. You know, manga is something I've only been reading for about a year and a half now. So it's so good to this is actually my first time, like kind of like a little bit of a book club, isn't it? Like it's a little bit of a book club. It's my first time with a manga doing that. So this is amazing. I'm so ready. I'm so excited.
We're both excited too. We found out about the series because we Googled basically what were some of the most popular horror stories or the scariest horror manga stories.
Aside from like obviously the GOAT Junji Ito.
Which we've read a lot of Junji Ito. We've read through our the previous years doing Spooktober. We read some other Drifted, I think was one.
Drifting Classroom.
Yeah, Drifting Classroom. We've read some other stories, but Ibitsu was the one that has been on our list for literally years.
I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of it until you guys said, let's read Ibitsu. I was like, what in the world is that? I was like, is that some kind of, are you giving me like a crap manga to read here? Are you trying to pull my leg? I've never heard of this in my life. But honestly, it makes sense because I'm a newbie. So anything I say in this episode, take with a grain of salt, because with manga, I kind of know what I'm doing, but kind of don't. So lead me right. Don't lead me astray, okay?
I mean, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
You can't go. Well, you could. That's the internet will tell you that you've gone wrong. You've gone completely wrong. You're an idiot. You need to just stop doing it right now.
That's a good point.
But with us, we've read some really good manga and really bad manga, and that's why we love these types of episodes, these volume 1s, because it could be a hit or miss. It really could. Yeah.
And this is kind of a special case too, because it's technically a volume 1, but we're going to be talking about the complete series at first, spoiler free, and then we'll get into some more spoilers later on, because this is such a short series. It's only 2 volumes. So we're going to be talking about all of it. And within those 2 volumes, it's only 15 chapters.
13.
Oh, 13? Well, whatever website I checked was wrong, Gavin.
Come on,
And I apologize.
So great.
It was 13, correct? I think maybe because it was an extra story.
Well, how about you read it and
6.5.
find out for yourself? How about that?
I'm
Incentive.
always correcting you on these. I always
No, that's fine. I mean, that's good.
Yeah, we have. Okay, yeah, there we go, Gavin. Tell us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Gavin has it right there in front of it.
Yeah, they're all 13. Yeah.
Damn it. Damn it. Okay, well, Gavin, since you have that in front of you,
Yeah.
would you mind reading the synopsis that's on the back for everybody who doesn't know anything about this series?
Of course, yeah. It is an urban legend about a girl in a gothic Lolita costume who appears at a local garbage drop and asks people who wanders by, would you have a little sister? And she asks this question, and depending on the answer of whoever comes by, they could end up facing a diabolical death, essentially. And that is literally that's pretty much what it says on the back. I kind of regurgitated it a little bit, but that's essentially it. There is barely anything else to go off of. So going into this, I had no idea what to expect. Like, I don't think anyone does just based off that alone. That was so vague.
Yeah.
And it was so random.
It's so random.
Do you have a little sister? Like, what does that even mean? I was like, what are you talking about here? What is this? And And how could that lead to a death? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was hooked, dude. I was hooked. It's intriguing. I'm a sucker for urban legends.
Same. It's especially when it's something that I've never heard of before. I love urban legends. I love folk tales. I love anything that's that little bit creepy. And I've never heard of any kind of, would you like a little sister? Or would you think it's like, what? How is this a story? How is this going to go anywhere?
That's how we know this is a manga right here.
Yeah,
There's a lot of little sister stuff.
Oh yeah.
In manga, and I was like, here we go. I was expecting to go into it and be like, okay, I was expecting to be put off completely because we know where that goes. But it wasn't heavy-handed. I was expecting it to be bad. Way worse.
I mean, outside of the one nip, I mean, we do get a nip.
I think there's like 2 nips.
Yeah.
2 nips.
And a crotch shot.
Total.
One per volume.
And a crotch shot.
Oh, and a crotch shot. And a crotch shot that I cropped in my mind. So that I didn't have to see that.
Blurred out.
Yeah. And other than that, I think, it wasn't as bad as like other series.
No. Yeah. Which I was like, pleasantly surprised. But
yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you guys did the research beforehand, obviously, because you wanted to protect me from this, of course.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I made it. It was Gavin certified. I made sure before I.
He went like this.
It.
He just went like this. Open the manga. Okay, I think it's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, that's all the research you needed. It turned out for the best, I think. The less you know, the better.
This, yeah, exactly. If you would have saw this on a shelf, Gavin, without us asking you to read it and talk about it with us, do you think that would have hooked you enough to pick it up?
Absolutely. I think, because as Mehgan said, like, it sounds like a manga. It explores a really random concept and goes with it. And I don't understand the imagination of these mangakas and how they can take something so vague and minuscule and blow it up to the way it has. So if I did see like this on a bookshelf, I mean, the cover itself hooked me. It's really creepy. I don't know what it's called, but I think it's one of those like creepy pasta things or something. There's like
Jeff the Killer.
Yeah. And it kind of makes me think of that. And that really, really intrigues me. So I would, that summary alone, absolutely. I love going into books knowing nothing about them.
Yeah, same. I'm finding that. I think I was somebody who was obsessed with like, synopsises and trailers because I didn't want to waste my time, I guess, or feel like my time was wasted. But now I'm more into discovering a story like as it unfolds rather than like knowing what it's about going into it.
For sure.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the thing as well. I try to avoid as many reviews of things as possible beforehand because I do not want to be influenced by anyone's opinion, which is so hard considering I do watch a lot of YouTube. I love watching book content. I love watching manga content. So it's really hard to avoid people going into stories and even just like the lit list of spoilers because I think it can be so easy to do. But Ibitsu, when you guys mentioned it, I was a blank slate, complete blank slate with it.
I think we all were. And speaking of spoilers and not going into spoilers, let's just give, I guess, our general sort of thoughts on this story, keeping it spoiler free. And like I said, we'll go beat by beat later and we'll get into some more spoiler territory. But for right now, what did you guys think about it as far as like your general thoughts?
Well, can Mehgan go first? Mehgan, you go first, because
you guys are both too polite.
I mean, that too. But like, I think it's going to be so interesting to see what like seasoned manga readers like yourselves think of this compared to somebody who, like, I did read all of Junji Ito recently, and I have read like, Blood on the Tracks, but that's about it. I'm still so brand new to it, so I don't know. But for seasoned manga readers, is this good? I don't know.
I mean, what you just said, that's why it's so difficult, because you've been reading the creme of the crop.
Yeah,
you've been watching Hereditary, Midsommar, like the original Exorcist. Yeah, like those are like really good horror movies and really good horror manga. So when we take a step back and read this story, I think it does everything it set out to do. It's creepy. It's for a horror manga, it's creepy, gory. Those moments where you're on the edge of your seat. It does that, but it reminds me of like a B horror movie. Like it's not terrible, and you can kind of be like, oh my god, that was crazy. But I'm not going to necessarily like, you have to read this, it's the best thing ever. Not like a Junji Ito, not like a Blood on the Tracks. But it hits all the notes. It gets me in the spooky spirit.
Sure.
And I will say that it did its due diligence in being spooky ooky for Spooktober. And that's my thoughts.
That's all you can ask of it, really, isn't it? It's like, does it do the job that it's set out to do? So if Haruto Ryo's kind of mission of this was to get under your skin, I think he did that, because I thought overall this was a manga that did get under my skin a lot. And like, it is gross, and there are moments that make you feel that way. And I think that was effective. And yeah, I did like it. I did like it. And as you said, like a B movie, it's like those old 90s slasher movies.
Yes.
We kind of move from that initial concept to something totally different by like chapter 3 or 4, kind of. And then it goes a little bit balls to the wall crazy after that. And it's just something that I say a lot in just standard regular books, like horror books, for instance. It almost feels like they don't know the direction they want to go in, so they give you an ending that feels so different to the beginning. And I feel like that's kind of what's happened here. But overall, honestly, I'm glad I read it. I mean, my life hasn't changed after reading it, but it was entertaining. For me, it was pretty entertaining. I had a good time.
I had a great time too. I completely agree with both of you guys. I think it does feel like a B movie. Which isn't bad. Sometimes you're in the mood for that. Sometimes you're in the mood for a psychological, heady
kind
sort of
horror, ridiculous.
But sometimes you're in the mood for just like campy, good fun. Horror fun.
Fun, yeah. This is
well,
fun.
I mean, fun for like a horror fan.
Yeah. I know.
With the genre like changing too, you're absolutely right. It starts with this like urban legend, then like the middle of it becomes like a slasher. Then it almost becomes like a mystery sort of thriller.
Yeah.
When they're in this like asylum and then or this like hospital, then there's a twist at the end.
And then it's just kind of reset. Like the universe and everything is kind of reset and is like, now let's wait for the next.
Yeah, I will say that though, for me, I had a lot of fun. My life wasn't changed either, but like reading it in October around this time, I had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed how short it was. And I feel like it was a concept that I don't really feel like there was a lot more that could have been done, but I've seen other stories with, less of a premise do more. So I'm glad that it was like contained as much as it was into these 2 volumes.
For sure. I don't think they could have.
It made it feel like it was always moving. And it didn't linger. The horror, like the body horror, the killings all felt like pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Like, I mean, sometimes it can be over the top, or it can be in manga, especially, it can be hard to like follow or read, or it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was like, I mean, it was like I was watching a movie. It was like graphic. I could very vividly picture everything.
It was heart-wrenching. It was like gut-wrenching, like visceral reactions. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It really reminded me of Pumpkin Night, which we had read in the past, which is so good.
Ooh.
And those killings, I would recommend that. Pumpkin Night's That's something that's a crazy one.
That
It's
changed
insane.
your
This
life,
is-
apparently. It changed your life.
Honestly, this is self-contained, and I would recommend it if you're looking for something horror, esque, I guess.
No, for sure.
But Pumpkin Night is just it's so absurd. It gets so absurd. At one point, Donald Trump is in
Donald
it.
Trump. Not. I don't think like Donald Trump by name is in
No,
it,
but
but
he's
this
in it.
character
He's in it.
is 100% Donald Trump.
Oh my
100%.
gosh. Okay, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to read it on Halloween.
Do it.
Mm.
Do it. It's really good.
I'll try to put a timestamp up so that I
Yeah.
can put an image of that panel up because it's pretty crazy. But it's a revenge story too.
It's a
really
revenge story, but yeah, like you were saying, I think it hit all the notes of what a horror manga should have.
Yeah. And I think
but-
it kept that heart of the urban legend as well, because urban legends they are kind of continuous and they go on, like you don't know how it's going to happen to or when it's going to happen to what. So I feel like it kept the heart of what an urban legend should be, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
For sure. And urban legends can change, with generations. There could be new things added. Like I think that the doll towards the end, like that changed, and that was a part of like the urban legend, which it wasn't in the beginning. And I was like, oh, that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
But I
was
like
cool.
how this story kind of plays on that multiple times, right? Where like, did those girls talking about it in the beginning of the series, did they not just mention that, or has the urban legend over time become something else? Like, the story never really commits to anything, but in a way that serves like what an urban legend is and should feel like, right?
Yeah.
Like even with the ending, right, which we won't talk about right now in this very moment, but I don't know, I felt like everything, like what was true, what was not true, how long has this been happening? Like I don't know, it's all it was spooky, it was mysterious, it was fun. I had a good time. I had a good like scary time.
Yeah.
As you should
with
have.
this story.
As you should have. I'm glad we picked this, because I say we as if I had any kind of say in it. But I'm glad you guys picked this for us, because I think it's one that is really good to talk about because of all the points you mentioned and more, when we get into some of the nitty gritty of the story. I think there's some good things about it. And also like the humor that you can get into with it too. And like, the level of horror and violence that it tries to depict. I think it's like such a good one to try and discuss, and we will.
We will. And I think that's the perfect segue. Kevin's such a pro. He's such a pro. Perfect segue to get into that nitty gritty and start going through it beat by beat. So we can, take as much of our time to talk about any specific moments that pop out, that stand out in your mind. But we'll start from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it opens up with our main character, Kazuki. And the urban legend starts, or is said to be, that when you're walking down the street, I think specifically by trash.
There's a girl, you might find a girl in a trash heap.
Yeah, in a Lolita dress.
In a Lolita fashion outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And she will ask you a question. Do you have or want? I think it's have.
Well, what was interesting is
A little sister.
Yeah, in the translation for that, by the way, I don't know if the note was in the one that you have, Gavin, but it said that like in the Japanese language, something about how you ask that question in the Japanese language, like it could mean both, I think. Do you have a sister or do you want a sister or something about. Yeah.
It didn't mention anything like that in my version, but I assumed with the main character when he said, I answered yes because I thought she was asking if I had a sister kind of thing. So like, that question can totally be misinterpreted. And I think that's what leads to like so much like horror from anybody who does encounter her, because it could easily be misconstrued. It's like a genie with wishes, isn't it? Like you can make a wish and a genie can twist it. It seems like that's what the demon, is that what she's called? Like the demon Lolita, or is she called Ibitsu, or I don't know what to.
Her name is.
Remina. Is it Remina? Remina?
Yeah, Remina.
Well,
but they don't really say that. They just call her like the weird, like
but
Lolita
that plays
girl.
into the twist, though.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because exactly like the way she asked it, because I think later on it's kind of revealed the way you answer is the way things will end up for you. And he answered in a way that hasn't been documented before, and we'll get into that. But it was just crazy because it really is like
Yeah, because you can
answer the right way.
Yeah, you can say like, I don't want a sister, and
or I don't have one.
Yeah, one of those ways she'll kill you immediately, and then the other way, which we see our main character answer, means that she'll kind of like become your sister and kill everyone around you, and then kill you. But the moral of the story really is to just not fucking talk to strangers.
Don't talk to strangers. Don't talk to a girl in a trash heap that is wearing a blood-soaked Lolita dress.
Yeah.
The fact he did that twice as well. Like, firstly, he went up to her, like, the first time. He should have just went the other direction, honestly. Like, I know he lives nearby. I know he had to take that trash out. But was it really life or death? Did he really have to do it right there and then? Especially when he saw her the second time. He should have just kept the trash inside. Like...
Yep.
I don't know.
I mean, he's a dirty anyway. He's a slob anyway.
Yeah,
just kept it in there another day or two.
Yeah, exactly. And it is just like, that's why you have to be caught up on your urban legends. Because if he knew about it, he wouldn't.
Because a lot of other people in that school knew about it.
Everyone, it seemed like everyone knew besides him. They're like, oh yeah, I heard about that.
But maybe that's who she goes after. She goes after people who don't know about the legend.
Maybe.
And this was kind of interesting too, and this might be like getting a little ahead of ourselves, but it was kind of crazy how at first it played like, I don't know, when I hear urban legend, I assume that maybe it's some sort of spirit.
Entity.
An entity, which it kind of is, but it also even kind of played with that because everybody could see this person. This entity, if you will, like kind of like had to abide by the rules of like having a physical body. It couldn't like go through walls or didn't appear. It needed keys to get indoors. You
it had to talk to people, communicate of like, hey, I need this thing. Hey, come meet me here.
Which I like. I like that because there's certain things they could do to like fight it, I guess, or to keep it out.
And there was no like clear answer. Like they didn't necessarily say like, oh, this person's completely human. This person has supernatural abilities, this vengeful spirit. Like it was just kind of left open to interpretation, which I did like enjoy.
Yeah.
You kind of learn as you go on exactly what she's capable of or like her motivations and things like that. Because I think even with urban legends, they are very small, as in like, I think there's one of, is it the Lover's Lane Hookman or something? There's something like that.
Yeah.
Who it just like goes in, kills people and leaves kind of thing, who are like lovers. Or the person who's like, aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights? Who comes into the bedroom at night when the lights are off and leaves that message on the wall. Like some of these urban legends are so specific and they feel really, really short. So to be able to expand on the Lolita legend, I guess, the demon Lolita, I think they called it.
Yeah.
It was really interesting to me because I don't think I've ever read something that expands upon an urban legend in that way without just including like little random urban legends. I know there's a horror movie called Urban Legend that I watched when I was younger, but that just throws different urban legends in. But to expand it and not tell you everything to make like right from the start, it's like, this is one question, we're gonna go from there kind of thing, which is something I did love about this book. It's
something that we've been talking a lot about because we've been watching scarier movies because it's October and we want to get in the Halloween spirit. And, you know, there's just always seems to be this need for horror movies in the third act to like feel like they have to answer what this entity is. They have to show you a close up of this entity. They have to, you know, get that tight shot of all the details. And it's like, that's when you usually get taken out. That's when it starts to look cheesy. That's when it starts to feel less believable and especially scary. And so I like that this didn't do that. It was very open-ended. Like,
and from the start, she was terrifying.
Yeah,
it wasn't like she like really showed up like, oh, like I can take care of you. And he was like, okay, this is kind of like sick.
Bro, yeah.
No, she was literally disgusting the entire time, which I loved. Yeah. Like she was so gruesome to the point where if you saw her on the street, you would be like, he saw her. I want to stay away from this
I genuinely don't know. I mean, because it's like she is a young girl, like a child, right? So it's like seeing she's a child, right?
I don't think so.
Really?
I think that she is like a grown person now.
Yeah. I think she, because of the twist, I think, like with her identity, I think this is like an entity that's probably been around for a very long time and something that's probably manifested from, I don't know, like maybe adult fear and stuff like that. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure.
But the appearance of a child, right? So I don't know. Are we all saying that we're that heartless that we would just leave what appears to be a child in a pile of garbage?
I mean,
Yes,
if she looks like
no.
she's scary. Yeah, she's terrifying. She's absolutely terrifying, Josh.
She is. Like, I've seen enough horror movies to, I would, you know what, I'll call 911 and I'll leave. I'll be like, okay, there seems to be a child. I'm staying back though. I'll probably stand, 25 feet away or something. I don't want to go anywhere near her. I will let the police come and sort it out. You're right. I don't want to be one of those horror movie characters who, answers these questions and gets themselves killed. I'm not doing it. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'll let the next person come along and then I'll scope it out and see. See? Yeah. I told you if I were to do that, I would have been done. But yeah, that was that. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way I would have helped her. There's absolutely no way. She has like long white hair. Mm-hmm. Her eyes are like completely black. She has the smut. No.
Yeah.
Doesn't she have something coming out of her as well, like some kind of fluid, like on the floor or something?
Yeah.
It looked gross.
And out of her stuffed animal. So, I mean, that's kind of like how it starts to happen. Our main character finds her, asks her, or she asks him the question, do you have a sister? He responds, I do. But that's enough for her to latch on. And she ends up kind of like barging into his apartment with her stuffed animal, saying that he got it dirty and asking if he can wash it or she can wash it in his bathroom. And he agrees. And then all of this black liquid, which I imagined black at the time, but I guess it would be black, right? It's like
it could be like
blood.
bile. It could be like bile
or bile.
It could be like blood or like the remains of, like, if we're talking about like spoilers for the end and stuff, then it could have been the person before the main character who goes into the teddy bear. It could be the dead carcass of whoever was in before. Could be
that's what's implied, and I think it's like it's just like old rotting organs and like I don't know. Does blood turn colors the longer?
I think it turns like dark black.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Like dried blood is like super dark.
Yeah, when it's congealed for a long time, I guess it does go a nasty color.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, I was already pretty freaked out.
Yeah, and I love when like movies, like any type of media, manga do this where it's the classic like yandere, which is like a name for a crazy character who's like obsessed with someone else who is like sweet and is like, I'm trying to just help you, so please don't move because it's gonna hurt more if I continue to stab you like this. I'm stabbing you wrong. You need to stay still because I love you. It's very much she's giving that energy, and the whole thing of like, I need a key. Like she's tricking people, but that's the thing, girl. Like she walks in and the old lady's like, okay, no, for sure, yeah, here's a key.
She's smart. She's confident. She's smart. I've got to stand it, honestly. Like, maybe the main character had it coming all along.
I mean, it seems like it.
He needs to grow up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because she approaches his landlord, and we'll skip around for the sake of time. But I mean, before this too, we meet his friends. Who, it's so funny when I was doing like research for the characters and trying to write their names down on the site that I've found. The guys were not mentioned at all. The only other character besides the brother, the sister, and I think the actual like Ibitsu girl was the basketball girl. That was the only and I feel like I know why she was listed because I bet that was a lot of people's favorite part of the series. Okay, a lot of these freaks out here.
Oh God.
Because I don't know, man. That whole part, it was. I feel like I know who it was for. It was for a certain
Which part?
The part with the basketball girl.
When she got hit?
Was that sledgehammer or something? Was that?
Yeah. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I just people know. People watching know. I feel like that was for a specific type of audience.
Basketball fans?
Sure, Mehgan. Basketball fans.
I don't get it.
Sure, Mehgan. Basketball fans. Gavin, am I crazy? I just feel like I felt dirty reading that section.
There were several parts where I felt dirty reading it, and I felt like I had to look away. There were definitely some moments like that. The basketball part was like very gratuitous. It was definitely Maybe I didn't say it like exactly in the way that Josh saw it.
I'm not really seeing it.
Okay, let me try to explain it better.
I'm trying to. Okay, we'll get there when we get there. You skip it around way too much. But the basketball girl and the two homies, they did not have names. That's what you were saying.
On the site that I checked, they did not have names.
Okay.
I don't remember their names either, so I don't think they did.
I mean, one of them was trying to push some type of pornography.
Yeah, the classic brother-sister stuff.
Yeah, he's like, watch this. This is the best thing. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not going to watch that. I'm literally going to throw it in the trash immediately.
Well, it's good for him.
I was like...
And honestly, kind of ended up getting him cursed, if you think about it. Because he was like, man, I really got to take this trash out. And that was in the trash. And I think him throwing it in there was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
It really was.
The porn that broke the...
Well, hopefully that is a lesson learned from this manga. Anyone who tries to watch that kind of content, just maybe don't.
Yeah, you're going to get cursed. You're done.
And rightly so. Rightly so.
Yes, rightly so. But yeah, those friends were not a huge part of the story. It's really about his sister. And his sister's name is Hikari.
Yeah. Oh.
She was very sweet, very nice. Younger sister who is, I think, more well-adjusted. Definitely a lot cleaner.
Oh, yeah.
More put together than her brother is. And she kind of comes over and helps him clean up.
And she was younger than him, right?
She
was younger.
Yeah.
This is when things start to go pretty crazy because...
Yeah, she starts, obviously, she sees, the Lolita girl sees that, he actually does have a real little sister. So she starts kind of spiraling. She kills a dog, which was this is when you see that, you know this person has no humanity. Honestly, this person you can't be saved.
When I thought that we were going to try and get some kind of redemption arc for Ibitsu, I just kept remembering the dog. I was like, I don't care what she went through. She killed a dog, and that's unacceptable on my watch. And even by that point as well, when we find out more about her, she's done other horrible, nasty stuff. And that is awful. And I was like, I feel sorry for the people who have lost their lives, of course.
Family.
But the dog, Sunny, I'm sure the dog's name was Sunny. And I'm like, how could you do that to a poor defenseless dog?
Yeah.
And the paw in the soup or whatever it was that she made her. Oh, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, so she ends up, the sister goes back to the apartment. The older brother's like, wait, where are you? Don't go to the apartment. She's going to be there, the Lolita. And she's like, okay, well, I'm up here already. And then she meets her and she's cooking. She's home. This is her home now. She's cooking.
I love how casually you recounted that as well. It's just like, I'm already here. I love the way you recounted that. I want you to kind of act out in the future if you possibly can, if you have the time. Just give reviews of books, go through step by step and just do it the Mehgan way, because it just it's beautiful to watch. It's more entertaining than the actual story.
Thank you. I'm just kidding. No.
We'll do it.
We will. I know. I promise. I'll do all of Game of Thrones like that. Honestly, I'll read all of it and recount it all like that. That would be insane.
That would.
But yeah, she was up there in the apartment, and
cooking.
So much so she was really comfortable. So much so that the other sister thought, or his actual sister thought that
the other sister
he had a girlfriend. Is this your girlfriend? Which, by the way, I mean, I know your brother's a slob, but you think that's his girl?
Well, that's what she said. She's like, well, she doesn't necessarily look like his type, but she was ready to accept her.
Dirt and all. Yeah.
Which is nice, even though she had a knife, pointed at her right when she walked in, but whatever.
She should have turned around and went straight back out, This is the one thing, maybe a detriment to the story, but I feel like it had to happen, was character decisions, like the sister's decision to not just turn around and go. I feel like it's so important for the plot, for the characters to make these really wild decisions that I shake my head at, which I guess is true for any kind of horror, because we need those characters to make those decisions. Otherwise, we don't get a story. But oh my gosh, it was with the basketball girl as well. She also, I'm not going to cut ahead. We'll go back to it. But character decisions were probably the most infuriating thing about this. Is in the police officer as well. Wait, didn't this happen?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, wait, riddle me this. What happened first? Because there was a whole scene where the brother was asleep, right? and she had let herself in. Was this before the sister came? Because, like, what didn't she ring? Didn't the sister ring and be like, "Hey, I'm here," and he's like, "Wait, then who's in my apartment?"
It
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
It happened before, and she came after the sister had visited too, because she, got the bag of makeup and everything. So yes, she's already been inside his home cleaning, which is like kind of nice, honestly. Like, I wish someone would break in my house and clean for me.
Same.
But yeah, that happens, and the sister rings him, and then he wakes up, and he's like, "Who was in my apartment?" Doesn't really think anything of it, which is like, bro, if I woke up and my room was clean, I guess his sister comes and cleans it for him, which is like, bro, come on, grow up.
Right. This
You
is
have
why
your own apartment.
Yeah.
And she's
Bro!
younger. How old is she? She's like, what, 15 or something? She's like so much younger. Ugh.
Anyway,
And you really want her cleaning your apartment as a single bachelor at your age, dude? You're nasty.
Those crusty sheets. You don't want anyone to know those. It is disgusting. It's disgusting.
You need to be paying a stranger to clean those, or clean them yourself.
Yeah.
clean them yourself. It's not that hard.
But if you're not going to clean them, then you need to be paying a stranger to clean them, not your sister.
Yeah, she breaks in, and I think that's where we end up in this moment when the paw soup.
Paw soup.
Well, yeah, this whole scene was pretty like graphic.
It was,
because she, like you said, the sister was very kind, and I really felt bad for her the whole time. I was like very much like rooting for her to escape, because in this first interaction she does, but she sits down and is presented with this like bowl of dark soup, and here's this noise, and it's Ibi. I'm gonna keep calling her Ibitsu. It's Ibitsu. It's Ibi. She's sitting there, and she's like, "What's that noise?" And she's asking all of these questions to the sister before she realizes that the noise is her just like stabbing herself in the legs with a fork over and over and over again. That was insane. Like, while this is all going on, there's an iron that is heating up and falls, and she like pretty much threatens to put an iron to her
punani. It was the punani iron.
Her punani area.
I was shocked.
Actually, directly to the punani.
Oh my god, that was scarier than anything else in this manga. I swear to God, I viscerally was like, "Oh my god, like please escape." And I thought the way it had been going, at this point, I was like, "She's gonna do it. She's gonna have a huge burn, and she's gonna survive, but like at what cost? Like that's just gonna hurt so bad."
Yeah. I clenched the whole time. But also the idea of, because didn't they used to do that in like the medieval times? They would put like, you know what I mean? Or they would do that to like for torture reasons and stuff.
Yeah.
It felt like it was maybe doing something about that. And you could read really into it and be like, if Ibitsu or Ibi or whatever we call it, if she does let her live, which I honestly didn't think she would. I thought she was going to die and the brother was going to come home and find her.
Same.
I think, just she was trying to make sure that she ruined her life forever, made sure that there was no kind of possible way for her to procreate or anything like that, especially since, and this is like, I think one of the best lines of the story was when Ibitsu said, oh my gosh, what's it? "You're just shit that happened to come out the same hole he did." Like, I feel like maybe she wanted to do something about stopping any kind of family growth from that line, and she only wanted to be part of, like, just maybe her and the brother, but also ensure that the sister couldn't do anything else if she let her live.
That's dark.
So I don't know, I thought maybe that was some kind of talk about that, but maybe it was just to be horrific. Maybe it was just shock value. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that too, because I mean, we even see that kind of similarly at the end with the rest of his family. It's like, I only want there to be one connection between me and you, and that's little sister, big brother, no one else. Because if she were able to have a kid, it would be like, "Oh, well, now you're an uncle." And she's like, "No, you're only a big brother. That's all you'll ever be."
Yeah. And it was very, like, the entrapment of him was kind of the main part of it. I do feel like we kind of went away from that when we started to stalk the sister in the school with her friend.
Yeah.
Which, again, like, I do really enjoy that because, it feels very 90s slasher. So it's when the characters feel, and I felt the entrapment throughout, honestly. Like, I thought, how is he going to escape from this? How is he ever going to survive after this? Because she seems like so immortal in a way. But I guess that's the point with urban legends. They are immortal. As long as people keep telling these stories, they will live forever. And that's what she felt like. And even during that whole scene with the iron and all of that, and she was hurting herself, and I was like, oh, she's doing all of this and she's not dying. What will it take to stop her? And I think the dinner scene was probably the peak of that, I think, for me. Like, damn, like, there's probably no way of stopping her now.
Yeah, and I liked it too. I liked that she ended up getting away. The brother ended up coming in and protecting his sister. That was a very sweet moment for them as siblings. And it gave me hope that, okay, maybe there's some way that they'll be able to like beat this thing.
But that was the opposite feeling for me.
Really?
I knew because they're sharing a like pleasant moment as siblings, that was like nail in the coffin. Like she's gonna go even harder. Like she's pissed now. She's so mad that he would even save her in that moment, that he would even care about her as a person, because she really just like, you know, psychosis, like everything is like, you are my big brother. Like, why should she even matter? What does it even matter? But again, we you know, in horror franchise fashion, we get a cop who gets involved and does nothing. Yeah. It kind of laughs it off, which is crazy.
It made me think this story was set in America, not Japan. I'll tell you that much.
I can say
I'll tell you that much.
I can definitely say that. Yeah, it felt, because he said something specifically about, oh, is he just trying to make her look like a stalker so that he can get out of the relationship? Because that's what people do. I'm like, can you assume that? Can you really assume that?
That's so crazy.
How? What do you mean? Where did that come from? You're really projecting right now. Like, did that happen to you, bro? Like, what is going on? He's like smiling. It's like, bro, chill out.
He's like, I get it. Trust me.
I understand. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Reported my ex to the cops.
Which is insane, because there's been we learned that there's accounts of this type of story going on and people like dying in a result of like it all kind of being tied to this urban myth, or I don't know. It was just kind of like, okay, thank you for nothing, pretty much.
But but even the landlord as well, just giving a random person keys to someone's apartment. Like, can you prove that they're related? Like, why would you just do that? If my landlord did that to someone who came up to him and said, oh, I'm Gavin's brother, and he just gave the key without any identification, I would sue. I would literally, I would be mortified.
And I've thought of that, actually, because I, you know, got locked out and had to go get the key from the office, their master key. And
I thought you said you thought of that because you were going to do that to someone.
No. And it was just such an easy,
I hope not.
It was just an easy thing. And I get it was easy because like my name is on the lease. They know who I am. But that made me think like, how easy would it be for somebody else to do that? Like, it kind of scared me.
Yeah.
And so, if the landlord was just giving out keys to everybody, I would move. I would move. And like Gavin said, I would sue.
I would sue. I would get every dollar from that agent as much as I can. It did lead to like a really good, creepy moment with her being in the apartment and him being on the phone with his sister. Like, that was like a really creepy moment. And I love those kind of sinister moments that were sprinkled throughout, because we do get the balance of the graphic horror and the really visceral stuff, but then you also get those kind of silently sinister things that kind of build to it. So like you get the dog, you've got the dog in the first chapter growling at her, and then like a few chapters later he's in the soup. You know, it's like things like built like that, which I appreciated. So it was that was good storytelling for me, I think.
Yeah,
I agree. And even like we just like see the spiral of her insanity of like, we've spent so many like moments together, and he's like, what are you, we've never spent any moments together. And she's like, oh, well, the logic here is that I like watch you when you sleep. And I've been doing it for days. Those are the times we spent together. Duh. And you're like, oh, she's gone. Like, she's completely far gone. And again, it's like all throughout this first part, it's like, is she real? Is this a ghost? Is this, I mean, she's able to be everywhere at once and follow. That's when, as we're wrapping up this last chapter, it was like, they're going to go to their parents because the cop didn't do anything. And I was like, why on earth would you not look around at, you let her right to the door.
Yeah.
You let her right to your parents. You let her right, like, what are you, why?
You'd go the opposite direction, surely. You know?
Yes.
Stay with one of your perverted friends.
So stay with someone you hate. Exactly.
Yeah. Just keep staying with
Stay with
everybody.
your worst enemy.
Couch surf to every one of your enemies ever. That would be great.
But yeah, they do end up that was like the first, I think, really big moment. The next big moment is the gym, the basketball scene. But like leading up to that, like they go to the parents and Ibitsu pulls this like pretty elaborate like plan together where she calls their house pretending that there's like a meeting, a school council meeting going on.
Very convincing.
Yeah.
Very convincing. We need her to come because she's the captain and we've already set up rules and
she'll lose her position if she doesn't come,
Yeah.
This is good. That was good.
Yeah, no, she's got it.
She might be, all bones, but she's got a few brains up there too. She's got a little bit of brains up there.
She does, yeah. I did find that whole setup to be quite convincing as well. But the thing as well that leads to that is that the basketball girl's name, it was Yuka, was it? Yuka?
Yuka, yeah.
Yuka. So she tells even the sister about Ibitsu, the demon leader. She tells her all about it. And like the sister also tells her the story about what's happening to her and the stalker who's stalking her brother. And then when she's left alone and she comes in and she doesn't put two and two together, she just goes up and shoves her.
It would be one thing if she didn't tell her about the urban legend at all and just said, oh, there's someone stalking me, stalking my brother. She's wearing an outfit. But she told her everything, like, oh, yeah, they ask you if you want to be the, the little sister. Like, she gave her the whole rundown.
Every detail.
She did.
Everything. She gave her, it wasn't Spark Notes. It was the whole story. Like, I just don't understand how she could just not. And then she goes to slap her, girl.
Yeah.
She fed her dog soup. She's stabbing her own leg. Give her all the details. Like, this is a very scary person. She tried to iron your pussy, girl.
Yeah.
Tell her the shit.
I agree 100%. And I did love that she stood up for her friend. Like, we love that. We respect that. We love that she had the bravery to do that. But it was the way and it was done. I was like, oh, gosh. I did want her to survive because she seemed like such a nice person. But it kind of made her, like, really, like, silly in that moment for just not reacting the way that she should have when she sees a random girl with a big sledgehammer coming in looking like the way she does, and you go towards her. You don't run from her, you go towards her. I just as Mehgan said, like, literally just gave her the entire summary of everything you need to know about this demon. And you don't run. I mean,
no, you slap her across
that
the
was
face.
crazy.
You slap her right across the face and go, don't touch my friend anymore.
Like, that's gonna work.
Bro, the cut between that line to like the sledgehammer on her leg, like that was another moment that was insane.
Well, I felt like, it was so good because, like Gavin was mentioning before, like these like little beats of like storytelling. He mentioned it with the dog earlier. Like, for me, it was like that one line that she told the sister of like, oh yeah, like, I'm here and I've gotten permission from the teacher to be here because it was like a Sunday night, late at night. Because there's a big basketball tournament coming up, and I've been practicing and I have permission to be here practicing late. So when the first blow was to like her knee and her leg, it already felt like, I already felt so incredibly bad for her because I was like, oh man, this isn't, even if she does make it out of this somehow, she can't play basketball, and she might not even be able to play basketball ever again the way her fucking knee got hit, dude. I mean, it was bad. So I automatically felt for her from the beginning and then it got obviously like worse and worse and worse.
Added horror of that to like an athlete. It's like, if you're an artist, your hands get smashed. Like, it's just a guitar play. Like, it's just crazy. She went right for the knee.
But it started me at that level, and then it just got crazier and crazier and crazier. So by the time like she delivered that final blow, it was like, oh man.
You kind of wanted her to end the suffering at that point because it was very brutal. And as you say as well, as an athlete, like, going back to her wanting to ruin the sister's life by doing the thing with the iron, it's like, I could have totally seen a different kind of story, like if she didn't kill those people but she just wanted to ruin their lives, which is arguably probably a fate worse than death. Like, I could have seen that as a story. Obviously we didn't go that route because I think maybe the mangaka wanted to do something a bit more shocking and something to do with all of that death and losing everyone around you. So I think it was supposed to focus on the main character himself more than anything else in losing everyone. So yeah, I just wanted it to end by that point. Like it was brutal. It was awful. Did you guys say that you saw Misery, Stephen King's Misery?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think I did, but you did.
Okay, well, just like, I'll not say exactly what it is, but there is like a scene that's famously called like the hobbling scene or something like that.
Yes.
So it's it kind of made me think of that a little bit, and it grossed me out. It was awful. It was so awful to watch. But I guess that's a good thing as well, because I don't think it's supposed to be, an easy read at all, which is why I wouldn't recommend this to everyone. If I was recommending it to my friends, I'd be like, just know that it is quite brutal, and like, especially with the stuff that she does to herself too. I feel like it's probably some of the worst stuff. I'm just, you want to see away from that?
I mean, because we even failed to mention, and that's bound to happen as we kind of go through it. There will be things that we don't mention, but she has like these marks from where she has like apparently self-harmed or committed these like acts of self-harm.
Yeah.
With these like very thick stitches that are keeping it together. And she
like just barely. Just barely.
And like stuff can come out of there, and like that comes into play sometimes too. And that like is another thing that she does to herself.
Yeah,
that
trigger
is just
warning
like,
for sure.
God.
And it is very visceral. But okay, now I'm remembering the basketball scene more as we're talking about it. And there is an unsolicited, like, what's it called? What is it? I'm forgetting. Not a nip slip. I was gonna say like fashion
faux
emergency.
Pas.
I don't know.
A fashion faux pas.
A wardrobe malfunction almost.
Wardrobe malfunction. Thank you. I was like, what is it called?
I couldn't think there.
Just random. I was like, okay. I mean, it's not surprising because we are reading a manga.
That's what I'm saying. Okay,
like
and now I get my chance to explain myself
Thank
what
you.
I was talking about earlier.
understand.
Because I was saying that like why there's two other guy characters that are equally as like involved in the story as this one other girl. Why is this one other basketball girl mentioned and those other two guys aren't? My mind goes for some perverted reason. For some perverted reason, because some man wrote this wiki page and he didn't remember those guys, but he remembered that girl playing basketball.
Well, maybe it'd be different if like the guys in the story, like they had a wardrobe malfunction too.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was like full frontal.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't happen though.
It does not happen.
It does not happen.
And so that's what I was saying. It was some pervert who put the page, because it got information wrong when I thought it was, that's the same website that told me it had 15 chapters, not 13.
See, you're not on the right, you're not on the internet right.
They were distracted by the basketball girl, so they
It was the sister though.
Well, that was not a fashion faux pas or a wardrobe malfunction. I mean,
she got like scratched.
Yeah. Her whole thing got ripped off.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. Well, I should have been expecting that, but as I say, I'm still quite new to manga, so I guess I should expect it more often, I guess.
No, yeah. Unfortunately, it was something that did not surprise me, but it was just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Fine.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. That felt unnecessary. Like,
it was
very
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, it felt very fan servicey, and this is the thing that just happens in anime and manga, and that's why I think like we might be more desensitized to it, but it just happens for no fucking reason. And in horror movies, sure, like you're getting scraped up and things are happening, and I get it. And I'm not even saying that there aren't cases in other stories where like it does make sense for whatever is happening in the moment. But this was just so they could draw a boob.
And it was like it was like, like a slasher movie. You always have that like woman character where it was like close to nothing. And it's like, they're in the shower. They're like, with a guy in a cabin and they get got when they're doing the act. Like it was very that. Like that's what it gave me.
Very Halloween.
That's why I kind of excused it. Yeah, that's why I was like, if it doesn't go as like far, if it doesn't go farther, then I'll excuse it.
And I'm pretty sure that's like about the farthest it went.
Yeah.
So I don't think it like really took me out of it too much either, because it wasn't something that like kept happening. I mean, there was the scene where she was like, during the iron moment, she like pissed herself and you could see up her skirt and everything. But outside of that moment and then the gym moment, it's not like a thing that they kept doing, the mangaka kept doing throughout.
Where I was like rolling my eyes, which I have done in previous
I mean, it's just
before.
taken me completely out before. I'm like, all right, well, I can't. I mean, this is just egregious.
Oh, but also it happens again too, actually. We're forgetting the side story We could talk about the side story.
Oh,
Yeah.
The
that
dolls.
was fun. I like that.
That one was so good.
That was fun.
Yeah, the doll story was amazing. When I said it gets under my skin, literally that story itself got under my skin. And I was like, I would have loved more of this. I would love more of that so much. Like, that would have been, but then again, I guess if it was longer, it probably would have lessened the impact, maybe. So maybe it was perfect the way it was. But yeah, I love that story. But yeah, there was definitely a moment where we got exposure, and even when the other guy's skin was taken off, you don't see anything of him. You don't even see his chest or anything. You really just see his face and that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's crazy.
Yeah.
Again, it's just manga, and hopefully, and it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm part of. Well, this story came out a while ago, 2009.
Yeah.
But I hope that now, I don't know. I just hope that
less gratuitous,
I feel like,
I guess.
yeah,
You
like
don't have
manga,
to rely
manga,
on this.
Huh?
You don't have to rely on showing this.
Yeah.
But anyway, the doll story. That was we could talk about that a little bit. So yeah, they're like these kids, another like urban legend of a place that you go if you're having like relationship troubles, right? And if you go here, it'll all be solved, and write your name on the walls. So this group of kids go to that building and shit starts hitting the fan. You see all these dolls everywhere. There was this doctor who what was he doing? He was trying to cure something, or he was
just
mad.
a doll maker.
He was a doll maker. Okay, I'm trying.
And his family died.
Yeah, and then he ended up like unaliving himself in the hospital or something like that. But there's these dolls everywhere, and then one of their friends goes missing, and that part was insane when he was just completely muscle on the floor. I was like, that would hurt so bad.
Oh, but how did they do it so clean as well? But it's the dolls themselves. I'm just like, terrifying, absolutely terrifying. The designs of them, and yeah, just even trying to think of how they do it, and the way that they kind of just. They were so still when they first came in as well. There was only a few of them, wasn't there? And they were just like so still. That's even more sinister to me. It's not like they just randomly walk up. Like they can plan. I meant to say plan. They can plan things. And I was trying to say plot and plan at the same time. It just became plan. So they can plan things.
We can start using it.
That's they can like literally wait in the darkness, and they can get you. And sometimes what the author doesn't say scares me more. So in that story itself, they weren't really focusing too much on that to begin with, because I didn't really know what was going on. It was a random side story in this other story. So I was like, okay, I'm trying to find my feet with this a little bit. And then the more we got on, the more sinister it became. And then it was just an avalanche of these creepy ass dolls. And I didn't know like what to do, because I was just like, oh my god, like these characters are going to die, and they're going to die awfully, and they're going to, they're going to have their skin taken off them, but then also they walk in their skin too. And oh my god, like I would have loved to have seen another story like that, because I thought the one at the very end wasn't as good. Honestly, I thought the editor story wasn't as good, but that one floored me. I like that one.
Especially because it played into the same like urban legend thing, where at the very end, because the urban legend is if you go to this place and write your name and your significant other's name, then you'll fall in love. But then after everything happens, we find out that like one of the friends has like been a doll for a long time. She went there previously with her boyfriend. And then you think that they might have a chance of making it out, or the girl who sets her boyfriend or her friend on fire. She doesn't, because at the end we just see her and her boyfriend holding hands, and they're like in love
because they made it out because they're dolls.
Because they're dolls, and I don't know. It was all like, it was really cool. And then you hear other people saying like, "Oh, we should go. We have to go now because it worked." Like, so it's kind of like they're luring other people in. But then what do they do on the outside? Like, do they just have a relationship, or do they get more people involved? Do they take other people's skin? Like, your imagination just runs wild after that, because what do they do? Yeah.
I think that is exactly that. I mean, it's like literally she called them. She told them we should all go to this place and lure them there so that her doll friends can get new skins. Oh. So all of those dolls that are there are going to end up being people that are walking out on the outside, which is like terrifying.
Oh my God.
So all of them that you saw, like they're going to be, putting new skin on and being like, oh, I have a new shot at life. I can be a person. And it's like, really cool.
Yeah. Oh, terrifying. No. Oh.
It was scary. I liked it a lot, though.
It was so good.
Yeah.
But cutting back to the main story real quick, the sister doesn't make it out. She dies, or we assume she dies. She gets like dragged out, and then we don't.
She put up a good fight, though.
She put up a good fight.
She did. I felt really bad, though. I knew she wasn't gonna make it out.
It broke me, dude. It broke me. And then I think the next like big moment that happens after that is our main character doesn't realize his sister's gone for a while, but he has his friend over, and they're on a forum trying to figure out like more about this urban legend. And they discover other cases. But what eventually they find out is where this Lolita has also been cited. And it's at this like old abandoned hospital where there's another legend of a doctor who took his own life after some crazy stuff, after he lost his mind, killed his patients, whatever. So they go there to investigate. And this is sort of where it becomes a more like mystery thriller, because almost in like a sort of like game like mechanic, he finds this like diary.
Oh yeah,
and is just
love the exposition.
Yeah, reading through the events of the
lore.
past. Yeah, of the lore. Yeah, with the doctor.
EB lore.
But I liked it. I mean, I thought it was really cool because you're kind of seeing him unravel this mystery as you're learning about like her quote unquote origin and all the things that he went through, all the tests and everything that happened with him, which was really interesting because, he says that he was the first one to find her, that she was an orphan of a murder. Her brother was a murderer, killed her parents, and
she witnessed it all and kind of went crazy after that, which is like, that's what you said. Like, I think we were going to get like a redemption arc. Yeah. You're like, oh, poor girl. She was like being abused by her brother the entire time.
Yep.
Also saw her parents' death. Like, she's going to get redemption. She's going to be set free, like Samara in The Ring, like scary movie. It's like, thank you. You've broken the curse. And like, they was going to get that. And they're like, really? She's like, no. And like, fucking
I'm just screwing with you.
Yeah. I thought we were going to get that when we started seeing this, but in the fashion of the story, it just got worse.
I mean, I really thought that, she was the victim in all of this. And I felt really bad until that twist.
Yeah.
Which I'm grateful for, actually. I really don't want to sympathize with somebody who kills dogs, but also kills innocent people and all of this, that, and the other. Like, obviously there's like layers to it. And because if she had turned out to have been that girl, the original Remina person, if she turned out to be that actual person, I would have been so conflicted by it because I wouldn't know what to feel. But I like the fact that we kept her evil and there isn't really a reason for it. I think that's scarier than having a motive. It's like she's still kind of shrouded in mystery here and she's still going forward and she's still doing what she's doing. And we've seen with this main character we've just followed for this big chunky ass book, he can't seem to find a way out himself. It continues that hopelessness. It continues that idea that this urban legend is going to live forever. And I thought it was so interesting with the journals and things, but I'm so glad we didn't go with she is actually Remina.
Yeah,
because I would have felt conflicted in a way that I wouldn't have wanted to feel conflicted. I like feeling conflicted about characters, but not like you said, characters who are like feeding dogs to people and stuff. Like that's another level.
Yeah.
But he's unfolding all of these mysteries, and this was pretty crazy. I mean, his friends end up getting got during this adventure. And he comes to a point in the journal because everything's happening to the doctor similar to how it happened to him, right? Where the same sibling relationship is starting to form. And he said, maybe I can sort of break this if I fulfill her wish. And that seems to be the last page. So he's wondering what this wish is, and he finally thinks he understands what it is. So he agrees. He pretty much tells her she's a perfect sister, and he agrees to be like her sibling, essentially.
You're amazing.
Yeah. Which he thinks is going to break the curse and that everything is going to be
which it kind of we thought
to normal. For a second,
she kind of like disappeared in the darkness, and we were like, finally, that's all she wanted. She's set free now,
and now she can go terrorize someone else, so we don't have to know
exactly.
No, she ends up coming back and stapling his eyelid. So
that was bad. That was so crazy.
Yeah. So again, I was kind of upset at this point, and then it got redeemed. But he wakes up classic. Oh, wow. Phew.
It was just
It was
a dream.
all a dream.
The classic, yeah.
Goodness. Wow. And I'm home and my mom and dad are here and my sister hasn't come back yet, but she should be fine. I'm going to go to the bathroom and then he sees EB once again, more eager than ever to have her brother with her. And then it just takes a turn. This half, I was not expecting. I was not expecting for her to slaughter his entire family.
Pretty graphic and gruesomely.
I thought it was contained to maybe him and his sister, but the whole fam taken out. Face and sizzling soup, golf club
through the throat. Yeah.
And he's just like, oh my God, this is my life now, I guess. And it is kind of like, no spoilers for something that we mentioned before in the episode. But she traps him there.
Mm-hmm.
She traps him. He is a prisoner in his own home with his parents' corpses in the house, boarded up. And everyone in the neighborhood's like, he's just acting weird again.
It kind of felt like I don't think, Gavin, you've read JoJo or watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Not yet, but I've got the first 3 volumes. I'm gonna do it.
Oh, okay. We'll talk to you more about that later. But it reminds me of this part from part 4 with Koichi when he's taken prisoner and he's like having to be taught certain things, and there's all these crazy consequences. It was like very part 4. Yeah. There's definitely a way I feel like to consume it chronologically, of course, but like just knowing what is ahead, I think makes you more excited about some of the earlier parts that a lot of people are kind of like divided on, I guess.
For sure. Yeah. I've heard so many great things about it, so I will read it. But with
man, I will tell you just really quickly, I can't not say this, that JoJo's is so good, and I really hope you do read it, and it's so worth it for like where it goes. That's all I'll say. Not where it starts, but where it ends up.
Okay,
it is like incredible.
I'll see it through. Yeah. I'll not let anything, like if it's not great at the start, I'll not let it deter me. I will continue on. I want to get caught up with your guys' reviews as well on it, so I will get there. So yeah, I will get there. I'll do it. I'll do it for you guys.
Hell yeah.
Give you those views.
Yeah. Another one. Another one
converted.
Yeah.
Well, but with this one as well, not only was he trapped, but she also made him a killer when the neighbor came by and he thought that she was her. So he ended up killing her by accident. And it's like, that's like the point of no return as well. Like she's affected his mental state so badly that he's killed someone. He's that paranoid and that desperate to get out of his situation that he's just killed someone without realizing it's not her. So that was a huge turning point for him. And I thought maybe there's no redeeming him now. Like she's got him to a point where the only solution to his character and his development and his growth is to be her friend forever, trapped in this teddy bear kind of thing. You know, it's
I mean, even if he did survive, I mean, she's killed his entire family and friends.
Yeah.
I mean, she has completely isolated him from everyone else. Well, so even if he did get out of it, it would have been like a horrific reality to go back to.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. I mean, she was literally torturing him day in, day out. And then he kind of like lied to her and said like, I understand, like I'm going to be good now, and realize if I don't do something now, I'm going to die here. I'm going to.
Which in that moment, I thought that, he was going to kind of succumb to the same fate that everybody before him had kind of succumbed to. I thought he was going to like take his own life when he was sharpening that pencil, but he was doing it to kill her, which I thought, man, that's so cool. I want there to be a character that like doesn't give up and tries to take her out in his final moments.
Just set her on fire.
Not that
it's just like like no one's tried that. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't understand. That is the one thing that kills most things that aren't human. Fire.
But literally put her in a trash bag, throw her in the dump, get her sent to an incinerator, and like literally put her back where she came from. Put her back in the trash.
Exactly.
Where you found it.
Exactly. Where you found it.
But yeah, I thought this was, pretty graphic when he killed the lady, the neighbor by mistake. And they've all been hearing all these rumors about, or not rumors, but they've been hearing all these noises and screams that he's been letting out over the course of this past week. But right before she's about to like take his life, he's begging her to forgive him and asking if they can be friends. And she says, okay, I agree to be friends with you. But she already has a friend. So she's like, sorry, Mr. So-and-so, the stuffed animal that she's been carrying around. That's when it's revealed that there are organs inside and that he's going to be the new organs that are inside. But she starts calling herself Hikari. She starts calling herself
his little
sister's name. And it's interesting because we've seen everybody else's body, I think outside of his like male friends, we've seen everybody else's body like after they were killed. But the sister, she dragged away and we never saw. And this, what we find out is so that she can essentially like take her identity.
Yeah, like she did with Remina or Ramina.
Yes. So earlier when they thought that they'd found out her true identity, that was just a different case of the same thing happening now. She had already done that once before. And who knows how many times it had happened before that. And so that's kind of the twist where you're like, wait, what? Like, I thought this was the first case.
Or even the doctor. It's like, were those the notes that he was taking, or was she the one writing that journal?
Well, I think the doctor was in the stuffed animal because the way the blood falls, it falls like on the notepad and it falls right by his name. It was like framed very specifically because the guts spill out, and it just, to me, that was very significant. And I feel like that's what was trying to be shown. I could be wrong, but that was just my interpretation of it.
It's good interpretation. I like that. I feel like there's definitely something to be like deeper with that teddy bear too. It's almost like with a teddy bear you associate it with childhood or like innocence, and with that whole thing of having something trapped inside. But also like when we were kids, I don't know about you guys, but one of my best friends was a teddy bear. You know, it's like you feel attached to these seemingly innocent things.
Yeah.
And then this author made it horrific, and I can never look at a teddy bear again. You know, I feel like it was a perversion of that childhood innocence that she's kind of like taken away from, like, for mostly, I think, his sister. Like she didn't deserve any of it. I think out of everyone in this book, the poor sister didn't deserve any of it. She really didn't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously neither did other people, but she, I think a lot of the stuff with like the childhood and stuff, and she seemed quite young, and I do think a lot of it was like tying into how the sister role, especially like, do you want a little sister? There's just so much around that little sister role that she herself was born into and she didn't ask for. You know, she didn't ask to be his little sister anyway. So it's like we have someone who does want to be his little sister and tries to take that from her. And it's like, I mean, I think, Josh, you've said before as well, like there was a moment where it was a beautiful kind of dynamic between the actual siblings. And I think by exploring that in the little sister theme, I do think the biggest tragedy out of this was the girl whose name I've forgotten, because she obviously meant that much to me. But it makes me feel that much more worse about the whole teddy bear thing and him being trapped inside it, because of how I would associate that with childhood and how his little sister was still essentially a child. So it just breaks my heart all over again, honestly.
Yeah, and it works on either sibling dynamics, right? Like Remina, like she didn't ask to be his little sister because she was getting tortured to death every day. Like she wanted to like find her own family. Like, I she's looking for like the ultimate, or like, Ibitsu is like looking for the ultimate big brother because of like her situation was not ideal at all. And like what a big brother should be, she wasn't given. So yeah,
but I feel like that story was what Ibitsu had drove Ramina's brother to do.
Well, yeah.
Like, because when we initially heard it, at first we thought that he was just a psychotic brother who was abusive.
And that's what we see at the end too with him, because they're like, like he was abusing his little sister. And I was like, that shocked me. Yeah. Because he only loved her, and now he's painted for the rest of his life as this psycho killer who murdered his whole family.
And then unalived himself.
It's that just cyclical urban legend. It's, you can't really control the narrative. It's like people will say whatever, and what they say is true. And you don't know what to believe. And I still don't know what to believe out of the end of this story, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about the very end, where it's kind of, it comes full circle. There's these two same girls that we had seen earlier, I think, talking about this urban legend, but now,
or just different high school girls.
different high school girls. But now they're talking about it with the addition of this like toy or the stuffed animal, her putting somebody,
guts.
and their guts into this thing. And she's even talking. So they're talking about that walking down the street. And Ibitsu passes them and then talks to that stuffed animal, calling it Kazuki, the main character's name.
Well, that's what's interesting, because even at the end, like, does she always present herself as this Lolita, like, girl? Or on the outside, she looks like the sister? Because
Again,
if she's just walking down the street, I mean, it's like she looks
But that's
insane
why
still.
I like it, because, you know, she could just be a spirit. She could just be an entity, right? We could be seeing her the way the mangaka wants us to see her, but everybody else could be seeing her as like that character. But they never really acknowledge it, because you're right. She's a smelly, dirty, you know, I mean, odd looking person who nobody is batting an eye at. So, but again, it never addresses it either.
Until maybe like she reveals herself completely to you. Maybe that's why the girl in the basketball gym kind of like didn't really realize it till it was too late.
Maybe.
Like, whoa, this person looks kind of off. And she started to like, because how could she get away with all of these things? Like, it kind of does do that with the brother, and then it cuts to like being the brother, and then it's Ibitsu actually killing the family. So I think it's just perception.
Right.
It's just interesting. They don't really explain it.
But I
too
like that.
Me
I think horror movies need to stop explaining every little thing. I think that's the trap that they fall into over and over and over again.
Yeah, the more you know, the less scary. Yeah, because you know more how to defeat them, how to escape from them. When you don't know anything, it's the scariest thing ever. Do you want to hear a conspiracy theory now? Actually, I don't know if
your fireworks are going off. I love it.
Are they? Oh gosh, Dom, not again.
No, I like it.
I don't know how to control that. Oh, actually,
I like it.
I think maybe it has something to do with hand emojis. Maybe that's what I need to do. I'll look into it, and then next time
it was fun.
I'll give you a show. Next time.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question, because I wasn't 100% sure, or like from my memory. When we're going through the flashbacks of Remina, does she does look like this, right? Like actual Remina looks like this?
Yes. Well, in the outfit. So in that outfit, she does look like that. And even in the doctor's office and like the hospital, she is like in the corner, and they're asking her like, take off the dress. You know, you've had it on for days. We can smell you from here. And she's like, no, I was told to wear this I have to wear this, or I'm going to like essentially get abused. Like I have to wear this. I have to be a good little sister, yada, yada, yada. So she did look like that. So that's why it just gets a little bit like confusing. I don't think it was the first instance, but
well, my conspiracy theory is, what if that bonus story with the dolls, what if like she is one of those dolls and she's wearing the skin of Remina, and now that she's killed the main character's sister, we never saw her body, so maybe she still has her skin, and maybe now she will, you know, dress up as her, she'll wear her skin, so the next time she's at a garbage dump, she'll be dressed as, was it Hikari? She will be dressed as her, and she'll be asking, would you like a little sister? Do you want a little sister? Kind of thing. I don't know. But like, I thought
it would be cool if they're connected in some way.
I don't know, because especially as well with the way that she's stitched up too, I don't know if that's just like surface damage from the skin, and she kind of doesn't really feel it, because it's like, it's just a suit for her kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now the gears are spinning, and I'm thinking about it, and it would because, you know, even the thing with that mark, it felt like we were seeing her make that mark for the first time in the flashbacks. But
no, yeah, it's like over and over again of herself harming herself.
Right.
So, but it is a thing of like how much is she still like human?
Exactly.
Like how much does it still like, you know, affect her at all at this point?
Right. It would be so cool if the stories are connected. Yeah. I want to. I wonder if anybody else has noticed any other reasons why they can be tied together.
Yeah, I just thought, because it was odd that if that flashback was genuine, that she kind of did look like, but she could have just stolen the clothes, and she just like vaguely resembles her. Could just be like that, I guess. But I don't know. The wheels were turning
initially,
as well.
I thought the twist initially, I think I misread it at first, but I still thought it would have been kind of cool. Because they're talking about how this brother has been abusive the whole time. I thought it was like an orphan situation where like the like Ibitsu was the brother who dressed up as his sister and was pretending to be.
I know what you're saying because I'm sorry. I had
No, I don't
was
know.
like, wait. I'm putting all the lines together. I thought the exact same thing, but then I thought it was her that actually did the killing, the little sister, and she put it all on the brother. Because the brother, maybe she was doing that to herself.
Especially because there was that panel of like the brother reaching through the closet and then the brother turned it to Ibitsu. So I thought, oh, maybe he just like started dressing like his sister and pretending to be her. But it didn't end up being that. I don't think it was that.
Yeah.
And I think it was still the brother who did the killing, but he was driven to do that by Ibitsu, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what if that was just her lore? I get that's why it's so it's so much because it's like I've looked up like just general thoughts about the story, and like the end can be interpreted so many ways because it's like, is this the start? And that's the whole thing, right? We don't know when it started. We don't know if this is true. We don't know if this doctor's notebook, like, was he one of the first victims? Was it actually him writing it? Was it her? Like, it's a whole thing.
I choose to believe that was not her origin. We were made to believe that was her origin, but that was another instance, and we don't know how many times before she had done it. I really think that's what I take away from it.
Because she kind of wedges herself, and takes the identity of the previous little sister.
Yeah.
Because
there's so much, like, you can read so much into it, which is just such a highlight for this story itself. I would rather be left to my own imagination than, like, well, 9 times out of 10. Sometimes it is nice to get a definite answer for things, but for a story, especially a horror, I think sometimes it is better to leave the door open and for you to be able to put in your own theories. I think it's like half the fun of reading a story sometimes. So yeah, there's it doesn't feel as concrete as a lot of the other kind of regular horror books that I've read. It's definitely unique in that respect.
Yeah. I mean, and I think we've managed to go through kind of all of it. And again, I did enjoy it. And like everybody, like we're all talking about it, like Gavin just mentioned, the fact that we're able to have these conversations and not have a definitive end to it, it just makes it that much more enjoyable for me.
Oh yeah, or talk about how like horrible the ending was. Like, we're not
That's
saying
fun too, but
you know what I mean. We're not saying that. It is like, you can have it open to interpretation. I'd rather that than have a just terrible like, why did that even happen ending?
Yeah. I agree.
It was really good, and I really do think that if you're looking for something spooky to read, and it's again such a quick read. I mean, Gavin was able to get the physical copy pretty quickly and easily too. So I mean, you could definitely get the physical copy,
read it in one night.
Yeah, have a nice spooky one night read.
And again, trigger warnings for everything mentioned.
Yeah, it's not cozy. It's definitely not cozy. But if you do want to kind of creep yourself out, absolutely. And it was surprisingly easy to get hold of. I was a bit worried that it would be harder, but actually, it's really not. So definitely go for it if you can.
Yeah. I really think that my recommendation, I wouldn't recommend it as much if it wasn't Halloween. I think this is the perfect time to read something like this. And I'm glad that I got to read it during the spooky season.
Yeah.
Is
During
there anything else? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's the best month to read it. Is there anything else that either of you guys want to mention about it? Like any closing thoughts or anything you didn't get to mention as we were going through about this story?
I did have notes, but I think we pretty much went through everything. I liked it when she told him his artwork was crap. When she made him draw her. It reminded me of, have you guys read Tomie?
Yes.
It reminded me of that. I think there was one story in that where Tomie was trying to get this artist to draw her or something.
Yeah.
And he was just terrible at it.
Yeah. She's like, you're not capturing my beauty. So
Yeah.
you're a shit artist.
Yeah.
that's another like story too that I was almost going to compare it to in the sense that like it's something that Tomiya keeps doing over and over and over. And you don't know like when the first time she did it was or the last time she did it was. I mean, this is just what it feels like she's just always done this. This thing, this succubus has always kind of existed and has tricked people this way. Yeah. And that's kind of, like Ibitsu similarly, like she's just always been doing this.
Yeah. But that's the only other thing was like the artwork. And I like the way that she just said that's crap. She is like such a scary thing and she can still come out with, one-liners like that. I kind of appreciated that.
How did you...
Yeah, I thought it was so funny. It's like, she's like, at times, like she isn't completely gone because he's like, oh, can I please have a sharper pencil so I can draw it better? She's like, oh yeah, got it, for sure, for sure.
That's true.
Yeah, like she is still able to like have a conversation.
Act like a
she
human.
is very intelligent, but she's terrifying.
What did you think of the art actually?
Ooh.
The actual artwork of the manga.
After reading Blood on the Tracks, because I think Blood on the Tracks was beautifully illustrated. I don't think it's like up there, honestly, but I did like the expression on the eyes and like the horror through the eyes of this. So I do like the artwork. It didn't blow me away, but no, it was serviceable. It felt a little bit, some parts of it a little bit Tim Burton-esque, I guess, like with some of the lines and some of the character designs felt a little bit like that. But other than that, I've got no complaints really. But again, I haven't read enough to be a critic on manga artwork. Give me a year, give me another year, and I will be an expert. I'll be like, right, that is subpar, that is not up to scratch. But I'm actually more interested to see what you guys thought of the artwork.
What'd you think, Mehgan?
I mean, again, like this is like the definition of like it did everything it was supposed to do. Like it wasn't anything to like write home about. It wasn't anything I'm going to be on, a soapbox proclaiming my love for Ibitsu. It was good. The artwork did what it was doing well. I mean, in those moments of impact with the sledgehammer, I mean, the gore scenes, those scenes of like silence when it's darkness, when she's peeping out of the corner, when she's, waiting for something to happen, when she's following them and, like clenching her fists of how angry she is. Like those moments I felt. And that's what I think, for a manga specifically, like you should be able to feel those moments. And I think I was. It wasn't completely amazing. I mean, Blood on the Tracks is like a whole nother level.
That's
that is artwork on every page.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it was, I mean, again, we've read some real rough stuff here on Volume 1, and this was not the worst that I've seen.
No, I kind of agree with both of you guys. It was good. It was good, and it executed those scenes really well. But it was nothing that blew me away. Paneling, though, I think is important no matter what story you're telling. But in horror, for some reason, I feel like it's so much more important because in order to get those scares, if things aren't paneled correctly and aren't flowing right, then that suspense isn't going to build. And when that sort of like reveal comes, it's not going to hit as hard. So I thought it was like, it flowed really well. And the way that it was paneled was really well. And the artwork was just a solid, like middle of the road, good, but not like, I mean, again, I don't know that anything compares to Blood on the Tracks. It is just.
I mean, what would you compare it to?
I like Urasawa. I like
Pumpkin Night. I would say the art in Pumpkin Night's better.
Better, I guess, but still no Blood on the Tracks.
I mean, no, of course, I'm not comparing it to that, but it's like in the same like vein, It's a horror manga with those scenes. Like, there's some pretty crazy scenes in Pumpkin Night.
I just put like Blood on the Tracks with like any Urasawa stuff, Berserk stuff. Like those are like top of the top.
Yeah.
That could be in
Masterful.
a museum.
It should be put in the museums kind of thing. There was in this actually, because Mehgan, you reminded me, especially with like sounds and stuff in horror manga, it has to be quite visual. There's like this one panel I quite liked. I don't know if you can say it very well.
Yes,
it's kind of
yes,
because it felt dark and it felt like, I don't know, it felt loud. And that is something that I kind of remembered. So as soon as Mehgan, you were talking about it, I was like, oh, you've just reminded me of this, like the scene of the sounds and the noises that were coming through. And yeah, like there were moments that were so good in this, But yeah, as Josh says, I mean, you've got Berserk up there, you've got Blood on the Tracks, and all of this, that, and the other, and you're just like, how can you compare, really? But
Yeah.
I guess you can't, and you just kind of have to accept it, I guess, which is fine.
Yeah, it's
I do
fine,
feel like maybe I shot myself in the foot by doing Junji Ito and in Blood on the Tracks first, but yeah, I'm still glad I read them. I had such a great time reading them. So yeah, and another thing it reminded me of as well, actually, is have you read the Love Sickness volume by Junji Ito as well?
Love
No.
Sickness. I mean, we've read a lot of Junji Ito. I
It's
forget the titles.
It's like this one.
Oh no,
that's
no.
that's a newer-ish one, or
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but there's 5 chapters in this. That's one story. That's like an urban legend. And it reminded me of that as well, of the Junji Ito story in that. So if you do end up reading Love Sickness, there's the 5 chapters, and it's about the beautiful boy at the crossroads or something. Oh my God, it's like the best story from this collection. So definitely give it a read. That was just as wild and terrifying. So I would also kind of liken it to Ibitsu with that whole urban legend kind of feel to it. But Tomie was another one that I kind of instantly thought of as well.
Yeah, Tomie reminded me of it a lot throughout. But I mean, I think overall, that's pretty much it for our review and our thoughts on this series. And take what you will from it. I mean, I think we had some good things to say. We had some, middle of the road things to say. Nothing like super bad about it.
We had drama.
Yeah.
I mean, it had a lot of things. It has mystery. It even has a little bonus story that could potentially be tied into all of it.
It's a volume 1 exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. If you end up checking it out, though, let us know if you've already read it. Let us know.
Yeah, I'm so curious because we obviously tell, our lovely community what we're going to be reading for these volume 1s,
right.
and read it and let us know in the comments. I'm just so curious to see what people have to
Me
say,
too.
because I feel like we'll be sometimes we'll be really excited. We'll be like, yeah, that was so amazing. And then we'll get comments of like, this is my opinion. We're like, oh yeah, we're like brought back to earth a little bit. We're like, yeah, that was a thing. Yeah,
I do get really into things when I read them.
Yeah. Yeah. And even talking about them with friends just makes it so much more fun. I mean, that's anything.
100%. Yeah.
There's been so many times where I've felt like, oh yeah, this story or this manga or this series, it was okay. And then by the end of the episode, talking to Mehgan about it, I'm like, this might be my favorite manga of all time. Actually, I love it. I love it so much.
I'm like, remember that thing? Remember that thing? He's like, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know your thoughts. And of course, we want to give the biggest round of applause to Gavin for coming on. I mean, most people I feel like who know us, know Gavin. Gavin is, like we said, an incredible booktuber who has recently completed his One Piece journey, but he makes a lot of other types of content as well, all equally amazing. So if you're unfamiliar for any reason with How to Train Your Gavin, make sure to check out his YouTube channel, which I think it'll definitely be linked below and in the description and title and all that stuff. But, just search How to Train Your Gavin.
Thank you.
And he will give you a free fireworks show.
Yes, every time.
Every time.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you, Gavin. Thank you so much, dude.
Thank you guys. Honestly, I love the community you've built every single time I watch a community live, which I'm so glad I've caught up with One Piece so that I can sort of watch as well, like the chapters and doing the lives. You've built such an amazing, tight-knit community. Honestly, it's so beautiful to watch. And it's such a nice little, because I still feel new to the manga community, but it feels like being able to like know you guys and see how you guys interact with the people who watch you. It's just like, this is like such a nice community to be part of. So I don't want to get soppy or anything, but honestly, I love you guys. I love watching you guys. I love everything you do. You deserve the world, both of you. So round of applause to you two for just being incredible people.
This is a round of applause for all three of us.
Yes.
Gavin, is there anything else you would like to say before we get out of here? Anything? Yeah, anything that people can expect or get excited about on your channel?
Well, I definitely, because I do love manga so much. It's something that I've really fallen in love with. I've been trying to avoid it for so long, because I'm a completionist. I used to work in a bookstore. I saw how hard it was to get manga volumes. And I was like, I'm not going to be one of those people who collects 70 volumes of a manga and I can't get volumes 50 through 70. I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
Yep.
But now I regret that decision because it's been amazing. But I am trying to read more manga. I'm trying to do more challenge videos with manga and read complete series of a manga or catch up in one video kind of thing. So really, I'm just all I can plug is myself, and hopefully that's good enough for you.
That's
more
more
than
than enough. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
honestly too much.
It's too much.
It's too much. I
Chill.
know. I should dial it down. It's too much for YouTube. I've also got an OnlyFans. I'm kidding. I don't. I'm
Oh,
kidding, I'm
I've
kidding.
actually,
Wait, what was it? Hold on. Wait,
I've
wait.
actually already subscribed. There's only
wait,
one
what? What
subscriber.
the heck?
How
And
to
I have to
train you,
confess-
Gavin?
You didn't tell me.
And it is me. It
you
is
didn't
me.
tell me.
I have exclusive content. I have access to exclusive content.
I'm the highest tier.
Yeah, on the highest tier.
I kid.
But yeah, I mean, again, I just want to thank you. And I guess the only thing left to do now is to get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes. Which, Gavin, just in case you're not 100%, you don't know 100% what that is. We just kind of like make something up. It's always the same and never changes, but it's always different. And it's and that's the joke.
whole thing.
But it has to be something from the conversation that we talked about. So something about Ibitsu, something
One
about
conversation.
Lolitas.
I don't remember a conversation.
Oh,
Oh, well, you blacked out. You blacked out, and that's
the fireworks did it.
Gavin. You have a problem.
It's all that smoke. It's all that smoke. It's kind of touching me. Ooh.
Okay.
I've only ever had one good one, and you guys used it once, and that was, what was it, volume 1 a ween or something?
Oh yeah.
I've only
Honestly, let's do it.
volume 1 a ween.
Let's do it with let's do it with
no,
you here.
Yeah, that's great. That's yes.
Happy
Wow.
Volume 1 a ween
Happy volume 1 a ween.
with Gavin actually here
Yeah.
in the video with us to do it.
Thank you for reminding me. I was like, that was so killer.
It was the only time I've ever thought of one, because I try and partake every single time. This is harder
It's
than
hard.
it looks. It's
very hard.
It's so hard. Oh,
All right, ready?
Yes.
I'm
All
ready.
right, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to check out Gavin's channel. Show him some love. We love you guys so much. You guys are amazing. And until next time,
Happy
Volume
Volume
1 a
1
ween.
Oh,
You did that perfectly.
Wow.
You knew that was going to happen.
Gavin is already doing the editing for us.
I
Like,
know.
for real.
Yeah, I don't even have
For
to
real.
edit because you already did it.